There we go, ladies and gentlemen. We should be live. Things should be rocking on up. How are we all doing? Right, we'll just wait and make sure this is all working. And we're going to have a little bit of a chat and a hangout today. That's right, it's going to be time to chill and talk about Warhammer Fantasy a little bit because it's coming back. That's right. We're just going to go ahead and try and do some social media announcements, some bits and bobs. There we go. It's me! Hey, how you doing? Right, so what we're going to have to do is load up the Discord. Fire on up. Okay. There we go. And that is done. Right. And so we can finally start our blurb. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope the audio is doing right. Final few mic checks. Yes, one should probably do these things before starting a stream, but you know, hey, why not? Roll Corruption's not been online for some time, has it? Ugh, neither's Hydra, in that fact. How's it going, Grim? So, ladies and gents, now we have our first chatter of the evening. I think we can get the show on the road. So, here we are with an announcement of, well, a forthcoming Warhammer Fantasy campaign, which I have been motivated to launch, as it were. So, with some of our most active Discord members, we are going to embark into the town of Tarm, which is where we're going to be setting our campaign, right smack in the middle of Reichland, maybe a tiny bit north, but still a little bit more interesting than Jettenberg, or Jettenberg, however the Germanics choose to pronounce it. So this campaign is going to be a completely separate storyline to my previous. It is going to have no overlap at all, and I would like it to be an opportunity for me to practice and implement some of the things I feel I've picked up by being a player within Sunkist and watching other RP shows, etc., and hopefully an opportunity for me to create a really enjoyable sandbox for the players. Now, will it be 100% sandboxed? Maybe not. Will there be a little bit of railroading at times? Absolutely. But my hope is that it's going to be a fun and a little bit more true experience to Warhammer Fantasy. My hopes are in this that we're going to have a little bit less of Hydra wants me to do this and a little bit more of, hey, I want to do that. We'll make sure we use the endeavours more. We'll make sure that things are a little bit more tight in terms of finances, so a little bit more grimdark and a little bit less I've got money in my pocket. What am I going to spend it on? Of course, there will be money in pockets, but it will be a momentous occasion when one can go to the shop and buy a new thing. It will be a glorious, glorious day. And so, since playing this game last time, I feel like I've learned a lot through mistakes. I think a lot of my combat encounters were far too easy. Some of them look quite hard, but there's lots of resources you have to, as a GM, to make things more challenging. Even enemies with arrows. Once players don't have too much armor, an arrow is pretty scary. So anyway, I'm looking forward to this. The setting of the campaign will be along the lines of, given that many of our players will be dipping in and out depending on their own schedules. We've got a lot of, let's say, players with adult responsibilities and not a lot of time. So we're going to have a large pool of players, which has already been selected, and they will be dipping in and out as and when. So we're going to be playing whenever we have between 3 to 5 players. And that means we are good to go. So basically, if we have too many, some will have to most likely step out. But yes, everything's sort of selected, ready to go. I've kind of gone with the most active community that's been hanging out on here for the last year. So I know everyone gets on. There's no concerns with that. I may run additional sessions, have other people in as guests in future, but I don't want to get too into that. And I also want to make clear that this isn't necessarily a patron thing. So it's not something that I want someone to feel that they can, they feel pressured to throw money into so they can jump on the show. That's not going to be how I'm going to be running this. This is, as far as I'm concerned, me playing with friends. Because as for the last year, it has been me playing with the same 5 people a lot of the time. So anyway, here we are, Town of Tarm. And by the way, shout out to the new modules including this absolute beauty, which we're going to talk about in a moment. Now, I will be doing separate content on Foundry, on how it works, how to use it, the modules that they've created. I'm going to be doing an interview with the guy that's created this, and, well, actually all of this, not just this map. Andrew Law, or Andy Law, created this map via his hands, but then it was digitalized and a lot of content's been imported. So you can click on anything and ta-da! You can see things. They're hyperlinked. You can click on all of these, and this is just... I'm going to be showing this off in another video, but it's such a beautiful thing. Yes, Tony, at the moment, squad's full. I'm not throwing out invites. I know there's going to be people that would love to play. The people that have been telling me they'd love to play for like the last year or two, I finally got in. So... in the future, perhaps, if there are additionals who would like to jump in. Now, this is a blank currently, and what I'd like to do today with you guys is spend a little bit of time perhaps exploring what could be in this town. We have a few ideas we can gather from nearby areas, and a few assumptions that we can make. The nice thing about this is the only piece of information on this town is that it has a bakery. That is the only thing available in the entirety of Warhammer 40k, sorry, Warhammer Fantasy canon. So I'm happy about that. I mean, yes, I can't copy-paste stuff that's already there. Bogarthen has loads. That's okay, though. That's okay. We're basically going to be starting afresh. What website do I use? I'm not on a website. I'm on Foundry as software. But in terms of when I say that there's been no mention of Tarm, Google search result, basically, and if you quotation Tarm, it only comes up with one search result. You can look at all of the Warhammer Wikipedias. There's just not much mention. There's mention of the River Blut, and you've obviously got Blutroch, Midfurt, Gramdorf, Weissbruck. We've got a few things to pad out around here, but there's not a lot of info on it. And this is making me happy. So what I think we can do is we can get a bit of information on Tarm by reading around its surroundings. So that will be a good place to start. So let us begin our GM prep up here, and we can start editing Tarm. Hello. I am Tarm. Now, I'll format it another time. We're not going to worry about punctuation for now. You have to click Save Entry or it doesn't save. Okay? Right, let's load up the Haga Crypts and see what we've got, because I think going around the area first is going to be useful. And Grim is right, you will need grain for a bakery. Two hands, very quickly, because I did just mention, this is the map created within the Warhammer Fantasy Starter Set, the physical edition, which you can get. I love the way the snow goes around the edge. You can buy this physically, and if you buy Foundry, and then you purchase through Cubicle 7 their official modules, this comes in the core set. I think it's like £15. And basically it comes with this map included. So absolutely beautiful, and comes loaded out with, and again, I'm going to do a session where I go over all of this. But if I go to my journal entry and I go Reichland here, this is the sort of stuff you'll get in your core module. You can go Grimdark Forests and you can load up various... Oh, it's just so beautiful. There is just... This will save you days of your life as a GM. Days of your life. Anyway, we need to promote this in another video because it's not the purpose of this one. Right. Dominating the centre of Reichland, the mist-shrouded... Okay, mist-shrouded. I need to bold that. Haga Crypts extend... I like the fact it's a bit like Bogarthen, which has a very misty river. Now we have misty hills. I really like that. Extend from the princedom of Altdorf to the north, all the way to Freiburg of Überschreich in the south. And so heavily forested that no road pierces through their heights. Okay. I'm just trying to get this in my head as well as a GM to kind of learn some of this as we go from east to west, resulting in long journeys for those travelling from one side to the other. The foothills are mostly populated by sheep and shepherds. Okay, so we're going to have a lot of wool, and we're going to have a lot of clothing. Wool plus clothing and appropriate guilds. So that's going to be in Tarm, certainly. Most likely, some of it will be exported to Bogan. So, exported to Boghafen. Because as far as I'm aware, and this is always relevant, this river flows down from the mountain to here, goes to the Blute Rock and goes along here. So you could go down river to Blute Rock and then to Weisbrook, but equally you've got a road here that you could take and go to Boghafen. So that's good to know. So we have obviously the history of the Haga Crypts, which is basically the burial ground of the tribe of humans that Sigmar came from. There are ancient cairns that are supposed to be seen rising from clearings, so we can. It sort of sounds a bit undead, spooky, ghostish. Local talk is nervously dismissed, but the main thing we've got from here thus far is we've got a little bit of industry, and it seems to be sort of agricultural. In terms of geography of the area, it does look somewhat mountainous as well. So for me, I think we can say that there are previous mines. And it depends when I set the setting, but we could definitely go with active possibly. Now, in terms of what it would be, I'm going to say silver. But it could be coal. It could be absolutely anything. What's up, Captain? So I like what we've got thus far. We've got all of this over here. So in terms of river connections, you've got a few small rivers here. So these, I assume, will just lead, like you've got a small river that would lead to Grosslin. You could go up to Blute and then along here, the Dabernick. You don't have a river that goes all the way to Voldenhof. A few little buildings there. So there will be some small little hamlets along the way. This is quite central within the Empire, so I like this. I think it's going to be pretty well connected. So there's going to be a bit of fishing to be done. Not loads, but fishing plus. So something we can do in medical terminology when there's lots of something is we go wool plus plus plus. It basically means there's more wool than fishing. There's loads and loads of wool, and there's a bit of fishing. I think we'll go with a fair bit here. Why are there sheep? I assume it's because it's more hilly. Normally, if it's cattle, if it's flatter, and sheep if it's hilly. So we'll go hilly terrain, and it looks like it on the map. For the most part, dense forest. Now, if it's dense forest, we're going to have hunting. So we're going to have lots of hunting expeditions. Right. You missed the start, Captain. It's okay, buddy. It's okay. You hope Alec will be okay. He will be fine. We can talk about Alec in a little bit. So we're gathering ideas here as to what we're going to need. Now, this will be a smaller town than Boghafen because it makes no sense for it to be comparable. We're in the olden times, because this is probably going to be set before Warhammer Fantasy 4th edition. I prefer the setting of something like a civil war when things are a bit more turbulent. I think what I would like to do is have this when Boghafen had, say, 2,000 people. So Tarm, population 500. Population 500. Small, okay? So within a population of 500, you're going to have like a couple of taverns. You're going to have some residential areas. Most of them will probably be owned by one particular family, the House of Tarm. So for a small area like this, we'll have noble family that owns the town. I'm not sure if they won't be a baron and a baroness or anything like that. I'll have to try and find the technical term for this, but they'll be House Tarm, and we can discuss relations to Boghafen families. We can go with the Boghafen families from the previous campaign because they were there for such a long time. The Tugans, the oh god, what were they? I've forgotten already. The Tugans. Oh man, how did I forget that already? I think I've actually deleted quite a few of my actors. actors, players, bestiary. Have I hidden them all? Human NPCs. Yeah, I think I have. I think they're around here somewhere, but we'll look for them another time. In regards to the timeline about the age of the three emperors, yeah, that's what I'm thinking, Two Hands. That's what I'm thinking. I want this to be a setting where there's going to be lots of uprisings, lots of rebellions, civil wars, mainly just so there's stuff in the background that the players can be like, oh, okay, this is happening and this is here. I just don't want it to be like, this is a stagnant time in fantasy. And it's not that they're going to be taking part in the wars. I mean, if they decide they want to, that's absolutely fine. But it will just be that, yeah, this place is currently, not doing very well. I don't know. Essel is currently being invaded from Midland. It's being sieged, and then each session will be, say, 2 or 3 weeks apart in game time. So, say for one month of game time, Essel can be sieged and be inaccessible. So that's the plan. Right, so back to here. We've got a few bits going on. Let's read a bit more around the nearby area. Darkstone Ring. And if anyone wants to start sort of jumping on Google, having a little look around Havelfurt, Jettenberg, Midfurt, Blute Rock, and start spamming me with any chat sort of ideas, things you've got going around your head, feel free, because I'll be Googling them too, but we can have a little chat about them. Right, so the wise do not venture to the Darkstone Ring. The path to this place is terrible. An ancient power lies to the north of Blute Rock, the Altdorf-Bogenhafen Road. When night falls, 6 suggestively carved stones glow green, with one luminosity flaring bright as Morsley wax, rather. Okay, at the centre of the Darkstone Ring lies a monolithic slab of unidentifiable rock, permanently stained with the blood of the countless innocents sacrificed there. Down. Okay, so that's very nice, but there's not necessarily something I can work with in world building just yet. There's loads of room for stories there and plots and things, and I can be like, okay, this is the situation that's going on there. That's fine. Let's have a little read about Weisbruck. You're not strong in Warhammer Fantasy. Do not worry, Wikipedia is. I'm not strong either. Little more than a tiny fishing village along the River Bogen. Weisbruck has in the past century grown rapidly into a bustling port. Now here's something. The canal wasn't there previously, so I may have to I might have to change the setting a little bit, because I don't want to change the map. The map is awesome and beautiful. I'd keep that. But the canal is a fairly new construction, which has seen Weisbruck become a lot larger and more industrious. So something to factor in. I think, though, that we've got the basic industries of this area. It's primarily going to be sheep, shepherds, bit of fishing, bit of hunting. That's pretty much it. So in terms of amenities, I think we can start working with this. We're going to have a hunting lodge. Okay, locations. Hunting lodge. And we'll have a guild attached to it. Of course, we'll have a hunter's guild. A bar called the Rat Hole. That incidentally gets overrun by Yep. Incidentally, they find a hole in the cellar. And it's not got mud crabs inside. Taverns. Okay. So you might think that a population of 500 would probably get away with, like 5 taverns? The thing is, back then, everyone's in a tavern every evening. So it's probably going to be more like 10 or 15. But I'm not going to make 10 or 15. I will have 3. Because I'm not spending all day making taverns. There will be lots of others, and they will just be little dives, basically. I will do 3 large taverns. Numerous small ones. The small ones will be like one person's living room where there are a few kegs and people are dishing out ale on the cheap. So they'll just be sort of small shitty ones. +1 for the players. The players, I'd like to get them involved and have them create something that's fairly familiar to them. I'd like them to be involved in the creation of that. So 50 people per tavern, fire safety. Yeah, absolutely. It's more like, what else are you going to do in the evening? There's no television. There's no electricity. There's no like warmth unless you have a fire going all the time. Like just go to the tavern. It's just better. Okay, need a few temples, Sigmar. I'm not going to do lots of temples in a place of 500. I think there'll be one temple, and there will be a few shrines within it. I think for somewhere small, I can't. It will need a religious building, absolutely, but I don't think I can have multiple. It depends what you mean by a temple. Like someone's bedroom might have been converted into a shrine to the trickster. But right, let's have a see. So we'll have one religious building. It depends how built up this is, but I'm going to stick with a population of 500 for now. I'm going to keep it fairly small. I think Bokarfen goes up to 5,000. Maybe we could move this to 1,000, but we'll keep it at 500 for now and just say that there's just not a huge amount of work going on, and there's only so many people want to be moving here. Most people move into Bokarfen once they're sort of an age that can work. But for some people, Bokarfen's just a little bit too industrial. Right, religious building, we need to pick. I will probably need to research the god associated with hunting or some sort of... Well, let's have a look. We can go religion and belief. Oh, there we go. Strategy, trickery, fertility. Okay, the goddess, it could be a shrine to Raya. Okay, or it could be Tal. Let's have a look. The wild, it won't be war, it won't be wisdom. I mean, it could be Sigmar, but I just think that's not as interesting. I think we're going to go with Tal or Raya for the temple that we have there. And we'll probably have a shrine to Sigmar inside and maybe another shrine to the other one of these that I don't pick. So in terms of what are we going to go for here, guys? What sounds more interesting? Major festivals, worshippers? Okay, well, let's have a little read first. Ooh, like in bird. Ugh, let's have a look. Right. Bountiful Raya is a goddess to fertility and the summer, widely known as the Earth Mother, and she who sustains life. Though typically depicted as the wife of Tal, myths connect her to many gods, as she has children from many of those relationships. Most commonly portrayed as tall, beautiful women. Women? Okay. Oh, yeah, of course. They're portrayed as multiple different people. In leaves and bedded in fruit. Oh, bedecked in fruit, even better. Raya statues are normally nude, pregnant, surrounded by her children. Many theologians tie Raya to the old faith of prehistoric cult, comprised of ancient farmers and hunters who wrestled in living... I'm not quite feeling that. Let's have a look at Tal. Rural folk across the old world venerate Tal, and any who make their living world... Apologies, I need a coffee. Any who make... They're living in wild places, take care not to offend him. Tal is the patron deity of Tabakland and the Empire, where his cult holds significant sway, influencing all of society. Okay, the cult varies in smaller orders dedicated to holy sites and grows throughout the old world, but two orders drive the cult forwards. Okay, Tal is particularly widespread in Tabakland. Forest temples are a hub of... I'm not sure. Let's look at the penances. I think that might be a better way to go here. Strictures: offer a prayer thanks to every animal taken. Spend a week alone commuting with the wilderness every year. No metal armor. Clad yourself in the hides of Tal. Yeah. I mean, it's reasonable to have a hedge witch somewhere. Absolutely. I think I'm probably leaning more towards Tal than Raya, just because I think Raya is a little bit less interesting. So we'll have I mean, Raya's fine, all right? I'm not judging pregnant ladies who are nude. That's totally fine. But I think it's better that we have a... major to Tal, minor to Raya and Sigmar. There we go. That's fine. Right, so we'll save that. Wunderbar. Right, go back on edit. I like to save as I go, just so things don't go too far wrong. So we can obviously have a priest of Tal here who will be able to afford various miracles if you're in good keeping. Leaping stag. Let's have a little look at these and they do give out blessings as well. That's pretty cool. Describe Tal's extraordinary senses, +1 acute sense. That's cool. Okay. Okay, so they can be perhaps... The Hunters Guild will have a decent relationship with this because having a blessing before going on a hunt is going to be a lovely way to do this. How's it going, Van Roland? Been watching my vids for a while. What might you call me? You can call me Airsick, Hydra, whatever you like. Okay. Good idea is that any village will have some religious place because not a church, but small shrine under the roof is nice. Yeah, I think there'll be some small other religious insignia and symbols throughout the town, people's porches, people's homes, etc. for some of the others. Like the fishermen are likely to have Manan, even though it's more god of the sea. Or they might even worship a local deity like Bogharfen has Bogan. Or Boganau that they often worship. So we might have let's have a look. So we have the river Tarm. So Tarmalam. I don't know, would have to come up with a Tarmian deity, but okay, so facts. And this will I'll compress this all and make this look pretty off of stream, but facts and things. We're gonna have connection between the cult, let's call it priest, Tal, and the hunting guild. We'll call it hunting guild for now. I'll probably change that. How's it going, St. Philip? Right, okay, so now we're getting somewhere. There'll be some cool blessings that can be given. Extra weapon skill, blessing of battle. Blessing of the Hunt seems good. Yeah, they probably go there for a Blessing of the Hunt. How long does it last? Duration 6 rounds. Yeah, like 1 minute. What I'll do is I'll say that they give them like a weaker blessing and it lasts for a day, but it's going to be like +2 to ballistic skill. So we'll say that this priest can actually have an effect. Or at least that's what people say. That's what people say. Right, so this is good. We have a religious building sorted. Now, I think if there was a blacksmith, that the Cult of Tal would not be in great favour. And if the Hunters Guild is one of the bigger elements of town, Cult of Tal would be not very fond of a blacksmith. So we're going to have limited metalworks, mostly imported. Okay, and I like this touch as well. Slightly cheaper. Leather. Slightly more expensive. Chain. So just as a nice little quirk of the area, we're going to have this sort of tied in that it's going to be a little tiny bit cheaper for leather armor here. I'd just say if it's 10 silver, I'll bring it down to 9. And that's it. So it's not being that kind, but it's going to be mainly because the Cult of Tal tend to bully anyone that's trying to make a blacksmith industry here into sort of submission. Did you miss a lot? Not too much. Maybe the iron is imported for the arrowheads and such, but the bows and fletchers make them into the final product. Yeah, absolutely, Roland. So you're going to need a bit of metal, right? You're going to need a little bit just for like buckles and stuff to hold this together. So we will have some works. This isn't going to be like an anti-metal place, but it's going to be if someone comes in, starts selling a suit of armor, the Cult of Tal will basically look down on them and most likely intimidate anyone that walks around wearing metal. It's just going to be like, we don't like you here. And so over the years, it sort of gradually turns out that anyone that wants to remain popular here, and I like this as well, we're actually going to have, for the religious building, animosity toward metal wearers. It's just a nice thing to throw in. Okay, these guys are going to be a little bit more cultish about it. Right. Your village is more shepherds and hunters. Yeah. So I think Tal makes a bit more sense for me for that. No. I hear what you're saying. So, yeah. So perhaps is that the god of fertility? Well, Tal is the god of wild, right? Is that just the god of like wild hunting, or is that just the god of worshipping the wilderness? So I'm wondering if a shepherd would worship Tal, or say they would worship Raya because they need their sheep to breed. What are your thoughts on that? Because I don't think we can go with Ulrich. I don't think we can go with maybe Shalia, but not really. Definitely not Renauld. Not the god of strategy or death either. So I think that's probably some combination of the two of these. I accept your point though, Adam, and it's a good point that probably if shepherds are the largest industry here, we're going to be having maybe even a 50-50 between Tal and Raya. Okay, we'll just we'll put a note by that, but I like it. And apparently they're husband and wife, so there we go. And I like the thing about gods in this world, because you can have a woman that's beautiful in town, and many people say, oh, she must be a manifestation or the embodiment of Raya. The virtues does not necessarily be fully ran by all, even if the hunters might be most virtuous. The food are from the shepherds. Raya and Tal go hand in hand. I think so, Grim. So I think we're going to have a little bit of the two of them, and then a little bit of a sort of a mention of Sigmar as well. So we could even have a little bit of beef between the cult of Raya and the cult of Tal, just being like, Tal's the best. No, Raya's the best. So we can have a little bit of that too. Yeah, I think a little bit of religious rivalry between the two. They'll both be like, yeah, but Tal's okay, but mine's much better. And, we can have them sabotage the others. And I'm not going to go into story too much because I don't want the players to like just suddenly know what's going on. But we can do lots with that. So, that being said, we'll have to have Clothier, Fletcher. That'll do for start. Green goblin armor, no red. Well, red does make them go faster. Okay, so I like this. Where are we going to go next? So I think we're doing okay for industries. Let's go to some other towns for some ideas. So what I'll do is I'll close this for now, and we'll go. I think what we'll do is we'll load up Uberschreik. Because there's some really good stuff in there for ideas. If we go Uberschreik, right, we'll keep up Tarm here as well, right? And this is again one of the adventure module maps that you can sort of download, and we can see what we get. We do need to pay some homage to Tarm, the family. How much they own? Do they have a large manor? Do they have anything like that? And I know one of our players is actually going to be playing a noble scion. So I think it might be nice if the Tarm family have screwed him over, which is why he's hanging out with these lowlives. Does the place have walls? No, it's going to have wooden palisades, do you call them? So it's going to be a little bit more small scale. So it's not going to be so much on the masonry side. This is going to be a little bit more ramshack, and thus a little bit more predisposed to being raided, etc. You're really happy with Foundry? Can't believe it took you so long to switch. Yeah, absolutely. I'm really happy with the official support. So we have a keep. I don't think we're going to have any massive buildings like that. It's mainly going to be sort of less masonry, more timber frame. There can be some buildings too. I think dwarven presence here will probably be somewhat limited. There won't be a large presence of Imperial dwarfs purely because of the like emphasis towards these two things. Like, you might get maybe there's a dwarven ranger in town, right, who lends out some services, but maybe charges a few coin for being a tracker. But astrologers predict a week of raids. Yes, yes, yes. There's a few towns within the fantasy map that don't have stone walls, even in the like more modern fantasy setting. Right, so docks wise, I think we will need some sort of fisherman's guild and a guild house. Maybe not boatman, but so yeah, they're not going to be. They're only going to be doing the fishing, and the boats for transport will probably. Yeah, they will need to send some stuff to there. So there will probably be a little bit of like a stevedore group. Let's have a little idea. Like, I love this. It's so good for getting watch station. Okay, town watch. There's going to have to be some sort of security. Let's mention that now. Town watch. Small. Small, given finances. Understaffed due to Tarm family reducing funds. There are currently 7. Currently 7 guard. Oh dear. 2 died last week. There we go. You might as well throw that in. It's a nice way to start a quest off. Tile worshippers had a knack for patrolling roads and clearing forests from beastmen and such around scouting. Well, I think what we're going to have, Philip, is we're going to have the Hunters Guild do a little bit more of that than they should, and we're going to have some animosity within the town between the hunters and Tarm. So we'll have that's a nice idea. So we'll have Tal Cult performs much of the town watch. And is I'll just put simple English, and is angry with nobles. And we'll go through this and make it look more pretty afterwards. This is just spitballing ideas. You're on the river. Fishermen are present near big bodies of water. There is not enough food in rivers. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. We will have fishermen there. That we've mentioned. We've got our +2 in fishing. So there'll be a fair presence of them. Like anywhere in Reichland, there's going to be lots of fishing to be done because there's so many rivers. Fisherman's Guild. We'll say friendly. Neutral. Toward all. There's not really much to say about them right now. We'll see what else comes in later, but there's no reason for them to be angry at either Tal or Raya, so that's always fine. I don't think we'll have a huge port for trade, and I think we'll probably have the Tarm family control most of the carts that go back and forth with goods, with a few independent traders as well. But given that we've got a lot of shepherds around, like most people I think are going to be eating lots of mutton, hunted animals, fish, and basically stuff that's been picked from the woods, rather than sort of like strong agricultural. 500 people, still a fair bit. They might also import, like for the stuff like wine, etc., and grain, that's going to have to come via Bokarfen. And so that will be... Okay, well, let's do that on the culinary side. Okay, culinary, food and grain, a little limited due to import from Bokarfen. Most the diet is fish, hunted animals, sparing, however, and foraged from nearby woods. There we go. A bit of starvation. Yeah, I mean, it's Warhammer Fantasy. Everyone's going to be starving. Yeah, food is going to be a little bit overpriced. Okay, let's throw that in for the fish. There is not enough fish to go around. A lot of produce is purchased by, should we say the Hunter's Lodge? Get like prime picks. A Hunter's Guild. Okay, hang on. A lot of fish are purchased by the... No, not purchased. Taxed by Tom. The rest often go... the Hunter's Lodge. There you go. So, little... Not much left for else. Right, so we'll have mainly the people foraging in the woods. So I like that. Lots of people going missing, people going a little bit too far into the woods just to try and, you know, find some extra berries for their dinner and never returning home. I like this. I like where this is going. This is good. We can have some people on the outskirts of town, some creepy loners as well. I think that's a nice way of doing it. It's nice how a world comes together. Once you've got one or two things, it just starts to gradually sort of roll on out. Potion shop. Oh, a potion shop. Item. Liquor of luck. Cordial. Okay, so here's the thing. We're in the arse end of the forest, right? We'll need a herbalist. Town has a herbalist. Young and inexperienced. Took over. Okay, so they were an apprentice. And took over 1 year ago after their parent. Let's not have both go missing at the same time. That's a bit harsh. Went missing. There we go. While out foraging. And we can have anything in the woods really causing the issues here. No potion shop. Well, we're going to have a herbalist, so it's just the sort of place where we'll have that. They will sell a mixture of things, really, but it's going to be like a general trade. So if we bring up, we go in journals, and actually you can go into career, can't you? And we can read a little bit about that, get some ideas. Compendium. Actually, we can go here. Classes. What is it? Burger? Peasant? Herbalist. Herb gatherer. Details. No, I want to actually read the details of this. Career description. There we go. Herbalist. Skilled botanists who use Raya's bounty to create cures for many ailments. I buy the herbs. I sell the pots. Don't worry, Grim. You won't have your toes trod on. Class peasants. Okay, so what have we got? Charm animal, climb. Okay, cute sense, taste. Deal maker, consume alcohol, cool, gossip, haggle. Okay, craftsman, herbalist. If we bring that up, I'm trying to just think about what they might make. Okay, herbalists can easily find a place where a band of travellers or mercenaries, they are particularly good at dealing with diseases. Herbalists often send their apprentices far off places in search of rarer herbs. Some find themselves in a manner of unexpected trouble. The Wood Elves' knowledge of plants and herbs is legendary. In the Grey Mountains, it is said that the goddess Shalia wandered. Athel Lauren. Oh, we could have this. We could have this young herbalist be like a suspected elf, little bit on the tall side. Problem is in fantasy, right? Is they've got black eyes, so you can't really hide them. No, we won't have them as an elf. Ah, I know what. We'll have her as a suspected half-elf. I know this isn't D&D, but that's what the rumour will be, right? That's what the rumour will be. Because she's a bit on the tall side and a bit thin, and no one ever saw her mother. Suspected half-elf. No one knows if humans and elves can breed, but, you know, why not have a pointy-eared waifu? All the cool kids doing it. I think we'll do her stuff just being quite trivial, so she's not going to be making, like, super potions or anything like that. I'll have to bring up the book to actually see what like things can be made, but I think we'll just go with like very basic stuff. We have an apothecary in town as well, so I think, Grim, provided you're happy with this, that we'll have the two of you being either friendly or not friendly with each other. And she's not going to be a big industry. She'll be like a young girl working out from the back of her house. So, what? Black eyes, elves? Yeah, but there's not going to be... She's not going to be like... She's going to be a lowly herb gatherer that's like trying to learn. She won't have heal or anything like that. She'll just have a very rudimentary knowledge of how to create things. Mainly, she'll be gathering herbs, though. That will be her main thing, and probably just trying to learn how to be a herbalist. So I like that. It's just a nice little bit of fluff. We'll have a few people in the town that will be like that. You'll be business partner. Absolutely, like you could buy herbs from her, Grim. That would be, you know, one of the places you could get them. Because I don't believe you have herbs being gathered. I will say that you're probably going to have some competition to buy from her, Grim, because, you know, we can't have it be that easy, can we? I don't know who else would, but maybe the hedge witch. Okay, suspected. On the outside of town. Dun dun dun. We'll just put ... more of that to begin with. We won't have like a child-eating meanie witch. We'll just have someone that seems, you know, relatively normal. Right, and I think that's looking pretty good for a starting point at the moment. Happy with that. All looking good. I like it. And what we're going to do is have a series of these videos where I go through, run through a whole bunch of stuff. I'm probably going to do another 10 minutes now. And then we'll likely load up for another couple of hours tomorrow once I've had a strong coffee, but I'm going to have to start cooking in a little bit. All of this talk about potions is making me hungry. Right, potion shop, merchant quarter, sister's bakery. Ah, yes, there is a bakery. Bakery. It's going to be a single bakery. Goods are expensive, as we've said earlier. Grain... due to grain, but popular as a treat. So it's going to be incredibly... Everyone's going to be saying how great it is. It might not even be that great. It might just be the only bakery they've got and the only place you can ever get bread. And it's too expensive to get grain normally, so no one tends to eat bread. Physicians Guild, we won't have one of those. We're not going to have a dwarven presence. Mining. Okay. Mining guild. Oh, okay. We have some room for dwarfs now. Mining guild. Yeah, it can be plus as well. It can be a fairly big industry. We'll have, say, 10... Out of 500, let's say 50 individuals. Spread throughout 3 active mines. Some dwarfs mixed in, do you think? Cookhouse. Yeah, that's a good idea. I like that. We'll come back to that idea. 3 active mines. How many dwarfs are we going to have in here? 12. 12 dwarfs in total. And side note, dwarfs really don't like this whole tile thing. There being so much wood. Generally grumpy. We'll say miners don't like, they're not going to like the tile cult. Tile cult, as the cost of equipment is uppity, and they want some. They need more equipment. There we go. So we've got a little bit of a relation going on now. 12 dwarfs, all of them players. We've already got like 3 dwarfs. Well, no, I think we've got 2 dwarfs and a halfling so far. So we do have plenty of dwarfs in our lineup as well. I'm not going to give away all of the players. I'll do a separate video and introduce each of them to you. But that's where we're at here. So that looks pretty good. I like that. If mines are in the mountains, they're probably owned by dwarfs. They could be owned by dwarfs. I think it's quite far inland, so I think I'm going to have it as a human expedition. A couple of dwarf rangers. Couple dwarf rangers. Act as scouts for hire. When individuals want to go exploring the crypts, they will only go so far, however. Okay, that's nice. So we can have some grumpy old dwarf scouts sat in the tavern. Retired rangers, perhaps, are a little bit on the older side. Imperial dwarfs, so, you know, a bit disconnected. Why they're here and not somewhere far nicer, we'll leave that to a backstory for them that we'll have to just create on the spot, because I'm not giving every NPC a crazy backstory. I would not do it as much work as Sheepy are. Too lazy. Improvisation, that's where it's at. Anyway, the Dwarf Rangers will be sort of able to tell some tales as to where the loot and booty is, but they will both have a little bit of a perhaps like a superstitious side to them. What comes first, expedition for mine or creation of a village? It's a good question, Adam. I think in terms of the town's history, it makes sense that the miners needed somewhere to live. So we'll probably say that let's buff this up a little bit. 100 workers in total. So a pretty large portion of the town is dedicated to the mining and farming. So out of 500, you're going to have like 100 workers. Obviously, you might only have 20 shepherds, but you might have 500 sheep. So there is going to be a lot of sheep floating around, and hence a lot of wool going around too. Rather than being cheaper leather, we're going to have cheaper wool armor, and I've downloaded a sort of a little armory that includes some wool-based armor instead of leather. Kind of works in the same way, but it's just basically padded armor. And I think that will be a very nice touch too, just to give the Talians a little bit of more flavour. Are any of the party old, or any of the old party players will make an appearance? No, Saint. This is going to be completely fresh. There won't be any overlap. I feel bad. The others stuck with for a long time, and they were great to play with. But at the same time, I've got a community on Discord that I've been interacting with a hell of a lot over the past few months, and chatting with them on nearly a daily basis. So there'll be a lot of the players that you'll have seen in Gladius with me. As I say, for like the last year. So I'm basically, as a sort of thank you to them, getting them in here. So that's the situation. So next we'll be doing a... Oh, no. Sorry, Tala. Sorry. One player is staying... I was thinking of the original cast, Tala. I'm really sorry. I was thinking of the original cast. I was like, no, Penix isn't in Pro AWC. I forgot that we made changes. Yes, Tala will be coming back as a different character. So he was the chappie with the dog. Carl, I think his character was. It was a long time ago, okay? Another lifetime. Other than that one player, everyone else is new. Oh wow, I'm not gonna live that one down for a while, am I? And it will be a little bit of a rotating cast as well. So we're gonna have a pool of about 8 to 10, and they'll be rotating in and out depending on who's available. So some people might only play once every 6 sessions or so. But they will be as part of the regular pool as such. So I will be keeping you updated with their characters as to what they're doing. So when we have between one session and another, we'll have a quick overview as to what people have done with the endeavours, and we'll say, okay, well, this is what's happened, and these two have been off doing this, and I'll let them fill you in next time they're here. So that's the plan anyway. Now, guys, what we're going to do is I'm going to wrap this up here because I'm going to take a bit of time to sort of formally write this out a little bit neater and come back to you tomorrow, and we'll do a little bit more prep together and finish sort of padding out this town. I think what I might do as well before tomorrow is actually create a map, and then we can start actually writing in some of the details for the places on the map and actually having a full journal area for this, which I think would be really, really nice. You watched a whole story in a single week. Wow, Philip, that's dedication there. Well, we're going to be doing a series of videos on Foundry. First, just introduction, then some tutorials. I'm going to be doing how to make combat maps, regular maps using, well, how I go about it anyway, because if those of you have watched my my content, you remember that I've got lots of maps like this I like to use. I love narrative stuff. I don't like all of this number crunching hard work. So this is what I really, really like, is just having a nice narrative prop in the background. And you know what, these ruins would do quite well for ruins up on the Haga crypts. That you could even say that some of them look to be suspiciously elven. And yes, it's just taking advantage of some of the maps I have, but I see no reason why there shouldn't be some elven ruins around, and long abandoned, maybe a couple of wood elves still occupying them. We can start padding out the area afterwards, but for now, we've got a little bit of a starting point in Reichland. I hope you've enjoyed. I hope you're looking forward to the announcement to see a fresh cast and one returning player. Sorry again, Tala. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to running it because it's been a long time since I've GM'd, and having been a player for a long time, I feel like there's a lot of ideas I want to implement and a lot of fun to be had. So looking forward to it. Yeah, I know, Adam. They're all Vermintide maps. They're all Vermintide maps. Like, there's such good Vermintide maps. Yeah, it's animated. Like, look, you know, it's still going back and forth. We've got all sorts of animated maps. Got a little crow here. No, the problem with Total War Warhammer is you can't hide enough. I mean, you can have like a large map and you can create some ground and stuff, and maybe there's some areas where you can zoom in enough, but I mean, for me, there's no comparison. Like, this is just the pinnacle of maps, in my view. Like, this is where it's at, and you can make this too. You just need Vermintide. You need a mod for it called Photoshop or Photo Workshop something. I don't know what it's called. You need an editing software that you can get for free, and it will take you about 60 seconds per map to loop it like this. The trick is on, yeah, you can see the blades there jump. So the trick is lining it up so it transitions as smoothly as possible, and I can show you that. It's really easy to record and do, though. But in a nutshell, you basically record a loop, and then you take 2 points in there that look pretty similar and cut it so the start and the end are fairly similar. And then what you do is you cut the beginning bit, the first half, and put it sort of after the second half and blur the middle bit. I'll show you anyway. I'm not very good at describing it, but it's nice to do. Thank you very much, Jeremy. I'm looking forward to doing it again and bringing out all the silly voices too. And get off of there. You're not in this campaign. There we go. But I love these maps. These maps are just absolutely amazing. And then we can bring on, because there's some pretty cool areas around, we can bring out some of these maps too. It's for some ruined areas. Oh, it's going to be good. It's going to be good. Anyway, guys, that's enough map showing off for now. Catch you round and see you tomorrow.